Yo, family. What's good and welcome back to another breaking Casper video. To start with some good news, it's official. The longest government shutdown in United States history, it is finally over. Fantastic news. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Trump signed this bill last night. So we can only hope and only pray that we can finally get back on track and properly start this crypto bull run. Although in saying that, I'm sure you have seen from the market's charts right now, we are not doing so hot, family. Bitcoin's currently down 2.94% of the daily time frame, valued at $98,600, touching that critical support area down here at 98k. Ethereum's down to $3,200, down 5.98%, and Casper is down to 4.77 cents, down roughly 3.61% on the daily time frame. Evidently, we're not out of the woods just yet, and as a quick word of warning to you right now, in my belief, the reason why the markets are currently correcting is because we are meant to be seeing some macro report. The delayed macro report should start rolling out right now, but apparently the recent inflation reports that was meant to be coming out has not been released, and that has caused a lot of backlash in the market because these macro reports play a pivotal role in investor sentiment as well as the Fed decision. And they're going to make a big decision this December, this coming FOMC meeting. So evidently everything still hangs in the balance. I'm hopeful still that we'll still see the continuation of rate cuts in December and therefore the continuation of this bull run, but only time will tell. For you to learn more and level up your crypto knowledge, come join my free Discord community. Links are down below in the description. But now to dive straight back into this video today, we have just heard a shocking report from Marathon Digital Holdings CEO. And he's talking about the future of Bitcoin mining. The largest Bitcoin mining company, Marathon, is talking about the future of Bitcoin mining, and it's not good. But worry not, Caspians, because Bitcoin's shortcoming here is actually our opportunity, and I think Marathon are perfectly aware of this as well. So to get into it, Marathon CEO Fred Thiel has finally said the quiet part out loud, the thing Bitcoin maxis continue to ignore, which is Bitcoin mining has effectively, officially entered survivability mode. Meaning Bitcoin, which is a proof of work, therefore its whole business model and the way it makes money and has security, it works by people continuing to mine Bitcoin. It's struggling, and therefore there's the belief that Bitcoin may actually not make it to its next halving in 2028. So to dive a little bit deeper, looking at the document here, this rundown from CoinDesk. Effectively, to dive a bit deeper into this, Bitcoin mining is facing a big issue. It's facing rising competition due to crypto's increasing adoption, Bitcoin's increasing adoption. As such, the hash rate is going up, while the margins and energy cost profits, they're shrinking. Furthermore, smaller miners are at risk of being pushed out by the firms, as those with larger capital, they're shifting their focus to AI and HPC, high performance computing, just to stay afloat. And with the block rewards going to be cut in half again in the next 3 years, down to 1.5 Bitcoin, there is only a couple of solutions, which is for Bitcoin's price to shoot up exponentially, or for Bitcoin transactions to start increasing. As Fred Thiel stated here, Bitcoin was designed with the idea that transaction fees would eventually replace the subsidiary, but that hasn't happened, and truth be told, it won't happen either. If Bitcoin doesn't grow at 50% or more annually, so every year, the math gets very tough after 2028 and even tougher in 2032. So let's do some maths right now then. Look at Bitcoin. Let's just say 100k Bitcoin right now. Effectively, Fred's still saying Bitcoin has to reach 150k by the end of this year to remain profitable. And then that therefore means 225k by the end of 2026. $337,500 by the end of 2027, and therefore a little over $500,000 by the next Bitcoin halving. That's insane. Alternatively, as Fred Thiel highlighted, the transactions could take some of the weight and start making the profit that way, but everybody and their grandmother knows Bitcoin's not scalable. And the Lightning Network solution is not even Bitcoin, But even then, that is still too slow, so that is not going to work either. Bitcoin is not scalable, so Fred still believes that the days of being a miner plugged into a grid are numbered, which is not good to hear at all. But what I find very interesting, it's worrying this, but what I find very interesting is Kaspa exists now. A decentralized fair launch proof of work, exactly like Bitcoin was, except it's got a block-DAG architecture instead of the blockchain, which allows Kaspa to be scalable. There has been evidence, it was a stress test, I understand that, but there was evidence there of Kaspa achieving 158 million transactions in one day, to which Bitcoin achieves 160 million in 1 year. So Kaspa is head and shoulders faster and more scalable than Bitcoin, which is absolutely insane. And because of this, based on Marathon as well, in my opinion, it's not financial advice, of course, there's going to become an inevitable time where Bitcoin maximalists will wisen up to this fact that Bitcoin is effectively right now the Titanic that's approaching the iceberg, and their choice is either to go down with that ship or to jump ship to Kaspa. And this is what Marathon, I believe, have done and what they are preparing to continue doing. Because if you remember back to September 2023, that's when Marathon actually started mining Kaspa secretly, all the way back here. And then they made a public announcement in June of 2024. Now, it was from then that Marathon, alongside market makers and whatnot, manipulated Kaspa's price and started selling it down. So around this price here, Marathon started selling off a lot of their Kaspa holdings once they made it public. And they even removed the name of Kaspa from their balance sheet. But in saying that, remember Marathon, they only mine Bitcoin and Kaspa. They don't mine anything else. So don't let this name other digital assets fool you. This is still Kaspa. So they're still mining Kaspa. And in fact, in their latest quarterly report just recently released, they have been adding Kaspa to their balance sheet once again. Roughly, I think it's a little over 10 million Kaspa in the past 9 months, from December 31st, 24 to September 30th, 2025, which is a very, very big deal. This is significant actually for 3 reasons. One is because Marathon have to act in accordance with their shareholders' wishes. And Marathon's biggest shareholders include the likes of BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, UBS, Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, and many, many more massive Wall Street institutions. So effectively, these shareholders agreed with Marathon they should start mining Kaspa back in September of 2023. Secondly, these shareholders have now also agreed that Marathon, after selling off a lot of their Kaspa, should start continuing to add Kaspa back to their balance sheet throughout all of 2025 this year. And the third reason, which for me is the most significant reason of them all, it actually coincides with something that Vlad and Jonathan Sompolinsky were discussing last night on Twitter, where Vlad stated here that he thinks Kaspa is too ahead of its time and will gain more appreciation as the market dynamics shift. Spoiler alert, they are shifting now. But right now, the demand for scaling is low because we live in a multi-chain world where the centralized exchanges handle most transactions. A change will come, but it can take years. To which Sompolinsky completely agreed here and basically said, such a Chad here, basically said that the idea of scalability is boring, so let's just upgrade 10 blocks per second to 100 blocks per second on Kaspa. What a Chad, honestly. It's just funny stuff, really. But anyways, the reason why this is significant, Fred Thiel has already acknowledged Kaspa for its scalability and speed. If you remember that Forbes interview way back when, you'll know what I'm talking about. But Fred Thiel's comment here is effectively him acknowledging that Bitcoin scalability limitations prevent its use for transactions. So the only way Bitcoin mining stays profitable is with the price jumping leaps and bounds every year, which, again, that's 500k in 3 years, which, by the way, also, that means a $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. That is, in my belief, not sustainable and quite unrealistic. So actually, Vlad is right and wrong, or not wrong, but maybe right and misinformed. Again, we'll build on this. The demand scalability right now is definitely low, And that dynamic is changing. But when he said it may take years, it may be quicker than he or any of us realized. Because again, we're seeing Marathon acknowledge this, and why else would Mara be continuing now to add Kaspa back to their balance sheet again, unless they knew something that either we didn't or we didn't take acknowledgement of. The final point, can still building on this, bear with me, to circle back once more to Fred Thiel again, he said, right here, that many mining firms are pivoting to adjacent fields such as AI or building out HPC infrastructure. And again, it was to stay afloat, right? Now this here is another one of my premium insight documents that I showed exclusively to my VIPs earlier today. This document was published earlier today by McKinsey. Now this is a very, very confidential one. So for my safety, I guess, I'm only going to showcase this one screenshot, this one page here, because it can get me into trouble, I think. Long and short of it, CEOs and leading executives, they want to move faster in the adoption, development, and utilization of artificial intelligence, of AI, namely Gen AI. However, developing and scaling Gen AI use cases has proven frustratingly challenging. So in other words, the primary barrier to full AI deployment is no longer about the technology itself, but about the challenge that comes with scalability. Leading institutions like McKinsey already see the limitations of scaling in today's world. This insane document is what made me think back to Tom Polinsky and Vlad's discussion last night. The timing of this is honestly comical. And again, how Vlad said that Kaspa is frankly just so ahead of his time because scalability right now is just boring. But that entire document, if you have access to the full thing, which you would in my VIP, from a world-leading institution, is proof that AI is huge and the next upcoming wave, and we need to be on the lookout for projects that will be able to onboard this new AI wave, but do so at scale. So therefore, scalability, while it is boring, it won't be boring forever. That's why I believe that Marathon are still holding, and in fact right now they're increasing their allocation of Kaspa while expanding into AI because they believe and know what is coming. And again with Kaspa, think about it. You've got Dagnai, VProgs, 100 blocks per second, all in the works, all incoming. How long we don't know, but they're all on the horizon. And by that point, Kaspa will most definitely head and shoulders by an absolute landslide have the best scalability of any crypto project in this space. Nothing will come close. And then the profitability for Kaspa mining, that will be how Bitcoin was meant to be, through transactions, not through just the price. Bitcoin can only be profitable with the price going up leaps and bounds every year. Kaspa will be able to do it how Bitcoin was meant to be. That to me is nuts. And just for the record, if you want to get access to that confidential document, the over 160 pages worth of premium insights in that, alongside 100 other premium documentation, and again making gains through trades and much more, check it out here in the VIP. We have a limited time offer where you can join here for free for 7 days, or you can get an additional 3-month trial if you use the affiliate link down below and sign up to BYDFI. A no KYC, no VPN, regulated exchange, all information on how to do so provided in our free Discord server right here and right here. So to come find out more, click the link down below in the description. And remember, as always, family, don't be emotional, be logical, and I'll see you in the next one.